Over the last 25 years, I've had the privilege of interviewing and highlighting some truly interesting people. Everyone who is anyone, both the famous and the infamous, from presidents and their first ladies to kings and queens, movie stars and pop stars, captains of industry, heads of state, sports personalities, innovative entrepreneurs, and some pretty fascinating everyday people. Today, I am proud to introduce you to Susan Schall, who is dedicated to giving people the tools and mindset to transform their personal and professional lives. Susan, it's such a pleasure to sit down and chat with you today.
Pleasure.
Wonderful. Well, that's a lot to unpack. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about your professional beginnings and what led you to pursue that career?
I'm an industrial engineer by education, and when I was in high school, I thought I wanted to be a lawyer and to be a patent lawyer, actually, to work with products and people that design those products. But as I looked at undergraduate programs, they all talked about studying political science and history and things like that. And I mean, those are interesting, but that wasn't my passion. My passion is math and science. One day, my dad came home from talking to a local lawyer, and he said, ought to think about engineering, especially if you want to do patent law. And apparently this local attorney had gone to school undergraduate as an engineer and said it develops good critical thinking skills. And so I started looking, and when I read the descriptions, I was like, yep, this is it. When I got into the classes, that was it. I didn't think any more about law. It was all about engineering and industrial engineering really focuses on combining people, process, and data to make things better, cheaper, and faster. I went to actually have an undergraduate degree in math and then industrial engineering. I finished that in an additional year and went to work for Eastman Kodak in the early 80s at a time when quality was really beginning to take off in the United States. After an NBC documentary, If Japan Can, Why Can't We?, that really ignited some passions within U.S. manufacturing around taking some of those techniques of quality and expanding them throughout the organization. Kodak was one of the ones in the forefront of that, and so I was right at the beginning of that movement and went to work for DuPont. That was probably one of the second major corporations that was in the quality revolution. After getting married, I moved here to the Northern Shenandoah Valley and earn as many career opportunities for someone with a PhD in engineering. So I ended up, since I had worked as an internal consultant, starting my own consulting business and doing consulting that way. I've done subcontract work, doing Six Sigma training with some larger consulting groups, and then independent work in a variety of industries. Chemical, food and beverage, automotive parts, printing, higher education. They have improvement needs as well,
Wow.
quality improvement needs. The nonprofit world as well, which is entirely different. So it's been and no 2 days are the same. It's all very interesting, but the tool set and the mindsets are the same. They apply regardless of the industry.
I have to tell you, Susan, that sounds tremendously exciting. You never get bored. You have the opportunity to take what is your passion, working in engineering, utilizing math and science, and apply it to making sure that products and services that come to the rest of us have the quality that we deserve and
And
desire.
make the world a better place.
It sounds like a wonderful passion, and you have done, as my father always advised, figure out what you love to do and then figure out how to get paid for it. So you have done
Yeah.
exactly that.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about SOS Consulting. What kind of work do you actually do there?
Well, I work with small U.S. manufacturers to help them transform. You use that word, that's a key word
Yes.
in what I do. Transform their organizations so that they can compete not only today, but that it's sustainable into the future, that they can compete tomorrow. That generally involves starting with leadership and developing a cohesive leadership team. You'd be surprised that that doesn't always exist. And establishing strategic clarity. Where are they? Who are they? What do they want to be? Where are they headed? And then communicating that throughout the organization so that it becomes embedded into their daily processes.
Mm-hmm.
And then streamlining those processes with the people and with data to deliver value to their customers.
It sounds like something that I've always been a big fan of. In order to change the mindset internally and externally of any company's culture, it's necessary to get the quote C-suite buy-in. If they don't buy in, then any consultant from the outside or even an insider in the business is not going to be successful with any new innovations. Would you agree?
Yes, leadership is really a key foundation to making any kind of change or transformation within an organization.
So, without divulging any trademark secrets, tell us a little bit about some interesting projects that you've worked on in the past.
My first client that was, purely mine, not a subcontract, was a North American printer. And they had determined before reaching out to me that their biggest opportunity for improvement was to improve their throughput, their productivity on a day-to-day basis, and that the biggest barrier to doing that was equipment downtime. So they engaged me in helping them to standardize a process, develop training materials, coach leaders at each of the plants to be able to deploy that methodology. And it was really transformational for them. And there were people that I guess I didn't fully understand the impact that it had on people on a personal level, in that they saw the benefits that it had not only to the business, but to the level of stress that it created in their lives. And they wanted to be a part of this process. And if you've ever been in a manufacturing environment, operators usually are not asking to be a part of a change, but they fought to be a part of the change because they saw the benefits, not only to the organizations, but to themselves personally. And I found that very rewarding.
And inspiring, Susan, as I think about all the young ladies who are going to see this interview, we have been encouraging young girls to get into the STEM areas for their career. And you are the poster child for doing that. So I'll ask you, what is your experience working as a woman in a typically male-dominated field?
I personally have not had any challenges or difficulties. I have some colleagues who have, but I'm the oldest of 4 children. I have 3 younger brothers, no sisters. So, I'm used to dealing with the men stuff. So I think, that's part of it. I've already sort of figured out how to work in that environment long before getting into engineering. But I also was fortunate in that I worked initially for 2 large corporations that valued women in STEM fields and just, would not tolerate any mistreatment.
I love that you have been acclaimed by your peers, not to mention some professional organizations. Tell us a little bit about some of those awards that you've received for your work.
2018, I received the Institute of Industrial and Systems Engineers Medallion Award, which is one of their highest awards for professional achievement and service to the discipline, to the profession. For over 25 years, I've been heavily involved in engineering education and the accreditation of primarily baccalaureate programs across the United States, and trained other people to do that work and help industrial engineering programs to be better programs so they produce engineers that can go out and make the world a better place. I will in November also receive another award from them, the Institute of Industrial Engineers Fellow Award. We were supposed to have that recognition bestowed in May, but with COVID, everything's been delayed, so that'll happen in November.
Fantastic. I understand that you have been contributing to a publication called Six Sigma. Can you explain that to me?
Six Sigma is an improvement methodology that was actually developed in Motorola but popularized by General Electric in the late 1990s. And it sort of made its wave across manufacturing initially, and then it's gone into healthcare, government, education, other places as well. The American Society for Quality has sort of been the home for that technology, that methodology. And they publish a monthly journal called the Six Sigma Forum magazine. And I've been on the editorial board for the last 15 years. one of my colleagues that I originally did some training with in Six Sigma and a joint client of ours wrote an article, oh, maybe 10 years ago now, I don't remember the exact timing, about their non-traditional approach to implementing Six Sigma and how there wasn't just one way. Then the second article was one that I wrote more about the human side of this and the leadership side of Six Sigma, and that to really be successful, you need to have a healthy organization, one that has that leadership in place, that has strategic clarity, and has communicated and embedded it into the organization.
That is fantastic. I love to look towards the future, especially with smart and talented women like yourself. Where do you see your company in the future? Is expansion a possibility?
I'm not really looking to expand, although I have thought about how could I bring in, a younger industrial engineer and train them and prepare them to continue almost like a legacy, to continue this work and, and then perhaps to expand it. I've also thought about, I have a colleague who's been encouraging me for years to write a book.
How do you inspire the next generation of engineers, and especially women engineers?
Well, I think, having that passion and sharing your passion is a key piece of it. And I support the local career fair with local schools. And the one thing that I help, particularly the young women, understand is that engineering they can apply in every sector of our economy, that engineers solve problems wherever they are.
What is the one thing you would want the viewer who sees this video feature to walk away with?
Well, there's been a lot of talk in the media about automation's going to take away jobs. And, certainly now with COVID and the social distancing, I can't say that there won't be a role that technology will change things. But to compete, I firmly believe that technology is not sufficient. And that we need the leadership, we need the clarity, and we need to empower and engage, give the tools to the people that are in those processes to transform those organizations, and then that transform their lives, that goes out into the community as a ripple effect throughout the community. And I think that, we can compete, and we actually need manufacturing to be a strong base in the economy. And we can do this, and it doesn't have to cost a lot, and it won't be all technology.
I just love your passion for transforming people and processes, because that is going to continue to make manufacturing in the United States something that we can be proud of and something that is beneficial to all of us. And so your work is just extraordinary. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.